South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Headliners. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. It was a big week for politics, with the center of it happening right here in South Florida. 5 Republican candidates squared off at the Arch Center in the 3rd GOP presidential debate. The presidential hopefuls traded jabs that got personal at times, but the man to beat, former President Donald Trump, was not there. He was in Hialeah. CBS News Miami's Robert Costa explains.
You might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Adult daughter, the next generation of America.
A tense showdown in Miami Wednesday as Republican presidential candidates pulled no punches.
You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer.
All while trying to emerge as credible alternatives to former President Donald Trump.
Anybody who's going to be spending the next year and a half of their life focusing on keeping themselves out of jail and courtrooms cannot lead this party or this country.
As the former president rallied in Hialeah, Florida, with his mugshot on merchandise for sale.
I'm standing in front of tens of thousands of people right now, and it's on television. That's a hell of a lot harder to do than a debate.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made it a point to take on Trump and argued the party needs a jumpstart after disappointing results in Tuesday's elections.
I'm sick of Republicans losing.
Those losses leaving candidates grappling with a path forward on abortion.
You got to do a better job on these referenda. I think of all the stuff that's happened to the pro-life cause, they have been caught flat-footed on these referenda.
I would certainly, as President of the United States, have a 15-week national limit.
The candidates were edging for breakthroughs by addressing how the crises in Israel and Gaza are playing out at home.
For everybody that's protesting on these college campuses in favor of Hamas, let me remind you something. Hamas said death to Israel and death to America. They hate and would kill you too.
To every student who've come to our country on a visa to a college campus, your visa is a privilege, not a right. I would deport you from those campuses.
And with former Ambassador Nikki Haley gaining support in the non-Trump wing of the party, she became a target.
Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
I'd first like to say they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them.
Last night, several top Republican sources told me they believe this race could eventually become a real battle between Haley and DeSantis for the support of traditional Republicans, and also believe others could have a breakthrough. The next debate will be in early December. Robert Costa, CBS News, Miami.
While the candidates faced off downtown, former President Donald Trump spoke to supporters at a rally of his own in Hialeah. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward was there.
Former President Donald Trump promised to make America powerful, wealthy, proud, safe, and great again. And he did not mince words about why he did not debate Republican opponents.
Our nation is in very serious trouble, and it's time for the Republican establishment to stop wasting time and resources trying to push weak and ineffective rhinos and never-Trumpers that nobody wants and nobody's going to vote for. I watch these guys coming in. I had this thing and I was watching these guys. They're not watchable. You know, the last debate was the lowest rated debate in the history of politics. So therefore, do you think we did the right thing by not participating?
Before Trump walked in, Roseanne Barr, MMA fighter Jose Masvidal, and others warmed up supporters. Most but not all sound convinced Trump will win the Republican nomination.
I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because I like Donald Trump, and he's just that good. And he's going to be our next president of the United States of America.
What do you think of his idea having this rally as the debate's going on?
Good. He's already leading in the poll. He don't need to be over there.
First of all, he's got guts. Second of all, it says that a lot of people are coming here to support him today. And I truly believe that he's doing this to let everybody know that he's still in the game.
What are you hoping to hear from him tonight?
Anything that he has to say. Because I'm a true believer in Trump.
Well, his message, I think, speaks to African Americans, Hispanics, Anglos. It doesn't matter. And it obviously hit home here. I think many folks here feel that we're losing a sense of that.
Trump did allow someone else to share the stage and speak, Hialeah Mayor Esteban Bovo, who says he plans to ask council to rename a street in the city after the former president. Trump told supporters, if we don't win this election, you may not have a country left. In Hialeah, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
Okay, let's stay in the city of Hialeah. That's where the fight for 911 records is not slowing down as a council member goes head-to-head with the city's mayor. CBS News Miami's Nikaya Carrero takes you to a special council meeting.
Councilman Brian Calvo is suing Hialeah's mayor Esteban Bovo Jr. Calvo claims the mayor and the city are charging him thousands of dollars for an open records request pertaining to the 911 system.
When I start asking questions about 911, now when they say, hey, we have to redact, we have to do all these things that are not required under the city charter for an elected official.
Answering calls with a timely manner, making sure they dispatch all the information they need to do. We understand it. This is a nationwide problem.
Fellow Councilman Jesus Tunador proposed a resolution that states the city does not approve of Calvo's lawsuit or his actions. The council says Calvo is acting solely on his own behalf and not on the behalf of the city. But an overwhelming majority of residents at the meeting don't agree with the resolution.
All of these people are attacking Brian Calvo. You, Mayor Esteban Bovo, I believe I don't have nothing against you, but you went to our church to say that you did the right thing. I believe you are not doing the right thing attacking Brian Calvo.
Before the council voted, Councilman Calvo broke down the reasons he is suing the mayor, at one point bringing up a meeting between the two men.
Even if being supervised by staff, however, the mayor unfortunately stormed out of that meeting and refused to address it.
Madam Chair, if I might, look, I know that offer has been on the table. He's not taking it because he prefers the circus. So you state the facts, but don't try to add any flowery language, Brian, okay? Don't do that because you're doing a disservice really to the residents of the city of Hialeah.
The resolution was passed by the city's council, with Councilman Brian Calvo being the only one to vote against it. In Hialeah, Nikaya Carrero, CBS News, Miami.
When we come back, see how a retired MMA fighter used his skills in the cage to fend off an attacker on the street and protect himself.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. A dangerous knife attack was caught on camera recently, but what the knife wielder didn't know is that the man he was victimizing was a former pro fighter. He quickly fended off the attacker and even managed to subdue him. Here's CBS News Miami's Joe Gorcho with the story.
Here in downtown Miami, Javier Baez wrapped up his work week as he would any other on a Friday. But this work week has been anything but typical. At 4 in the morning on Wednesday the 1st, Javier Baez fended off a man wielding a knife.
I guess he got really mad and he got a knife and came running at me, and then, well, the rest is on video.
Surveillance footage from an apartment complex parking lot in Cutler Bay showed Baez blocking the jab, picking up the attacker and throwing him to the ground.
Second nature. When you practice every day, it has to be like, you can't think about it. Put him belly to the floor and I put my knee on his back and I just held him there and called the cops.
Miami-Dade police arrested the attacker, Omar Marrero, charging him with 2 felonies. The footage showed the tail end of the confrontation. The arrest report said Marrero at first grabbed a 14-inch knife and began to strike the driver's window.
And this guy was out there screaming on the phone. He literally was fighting for a while, some woman. He tapped on my door window. I told him, leave me alone. And then he came with a knife, and then I told him, leave me alone, I'm calling the cops. I hope he doesn't break my window. That's all I cared about.
Baez exited the car, attempting to defuse the situation. The report described Marrero grabbing a second large knife and running toward Baez, which we see here, attempting to cut him several times. Baez showed me his initial maneuver to stop the attacker. How did your mixed martial arts training help you through a very dangerous situation?
I stayed calm. I kept my balance. I kept my composure. I didn't bring him down and start beating on him. I just took him down.
What do you suggest others do that may not have your training if faced in a very similar situation?
Stay in the car, call the cops. Stay in the car or drive away.
Reporting in Miami, Joe Gorcho, CBS News Miami.
Good advice from a pro fighter. All right, Miami-Dade high school students are getting a life-saving lesson about fentanyl. The district launched a Say No to Fentanyl campaign. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten tells us what it's all about.
What are we saying? Say no to fentanyl. Miami-Dade schools rolling out its Say No to Fentanyl campaign.
We're here to tell you, if you have an unprescribed pill, you'll die. And you will ruin not just, of course, your own life, but your mothers and your fathers and your families and your friends and your siblings.
Gregory Swan and the group Fentanyl Fathers will lead student assemblies at all 62 Miami-Dade high schools. He knows firsthand the deadly consequences of fentanyl.
Our son, Drew, was staying at a halfway house. He got an unprescribed pill from his roommate. He thought it was methadone. He, unfortunately, was poisoned.
The latest numbers from the FDLE show that more than 2,700 people in Florida died from fentanyl in the first half of 2022. That includes 117 in the Miami area from January through June of last year, and another 264 in Broward.
And then we say together at the end of the assembly, I'll never try, so I'll never die from fentanyl. And we tell them, it might sound cheesy, but you need to hear yourself say that.
At the schools, we're hoping to lead student conversations, student discussions.
Stella McLaney is a Miami-Dade high school senior. She's part of a student group that gets the message out to teens.
Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is 100 times stronger than morphine and about 50 times the strength of heroin.
She operates a website and posts on social media about the dangers of fentanyl, warning students drugs from the street could be laced with a deadly dose.
If you're feeling stressed, if you feel like you need a pill, doctors can prescribe that for you, get it from a pharmacy. We want our message to be, if it didn't come from a pharmacy, it's not safe.
Ted Scouten, CBS News, Miami.
When we come back, it's the 10th anniversary of Honor Flight South Florida. Coming up, we'll take a look at the organization that helps veterans in South Florida and how they're making Miami proud.
South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News, Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. A retired firefighter jumps into action to help rescue a motorcyclist who was thrown into the water recently. This happened following a crash on a bridge in Seminole County. Take a look.
Those split seconds can mean the world. I mean, it means a life.
Retired Seminole County firefighter Terry Myers was in the right place at the right time.
It was perfect timing. We beat the fire department's boat there by 5 minutes, just because I was here.
He was home when he says he got a call from a lieutenant asking if he could get his boat and put it in the water of Lake Jessup to help rescue a motorcyclist thrown off of a bridge into the water.
Me and my wife come running down, jumped in the boat, cranked it up, ran over and got them. And the minute we got there, we just pulled the boat up on the shore. The crew from Engine 35 jumped on, and we took them up the lake.
When they got there, firefighters were doing what they could to help the motorcyclist from the bridge above.
Luckily, the guys on the bridge had already thrown him, a flotation device and a rope. Doesn't always happen that way. It doesn't always happen that he was so lucky that he didn't get knocked out going over the bridge. He was able to hold on to the pole until they threw him something. But minutes count big time. It's a life. In a lot of cases it is.
Keith Jones, CBS News, Miami.
Very lucky man. Now, a special Miami Proud that commemorates Veterans Day. It's the 10th anniversary of Honor Flight South Florida. The organization helps honor and thank veterans who fought for our freedoms by bringing them to see the war memorials that commemorate their service. CBS News Miami's Jacqueline Quinn explains.
Have your boarding passes ready.
For some, it's a trip for reflection and remembering. For others, it's time to make up for a less than welcome homecoming.
When I came home, we were treated very, very poorly, and today we're being treated fantastic.
That's something David Scharf will never forget when he came back from serving overseas during the time of the Vietnam War. We followed him along with 70 other veterans on this honor flight from South Florida to the nation's capital. The first trip after landing, a visit to the U.S. Marine Corps Memorial, one of the largest bronze sculptures in the world.
Couldn't have been a prettier day, really. No.
Not too long after, we stop at the Military Women's Memorial.
She left as a special spy.
And then, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, a symbolic grave for all who've died in war. From here, the group passes through the World War II Memorial.
Look at the camera.
Then down the National Mall to the Wall for Vietnam veterans.
It's been a very emotional day for me.
Making this even more special, Scharf's son Brian was able to accompany him as a trained companion for this honor flight.
They were drafting like 40,000 a month at the time, so I decided let me pick my time. So I went in and volunteered.
Scharf spent most of his service in Germany, keeping track of military equipment in Europe and Africa.
All the records, where the vehicles were, what was needed on them.
Years later, what is it that you wish people would know today about your experience and what you went through?
I wish they could feel what the soldiers felt like coming home to. That kind of ridicule and being totally abused for stuff we personally never did.
Scharf said after that day, he never talked about it again, but this day is one for change.
It's so touching because there are people on that wall that I probably know. I don't even want to go over there.
For retired Army Major General Bernard Lofke, he thinks about the men and women who have served beside him.
I've lost 34 soldiers killed and 220 wounded, and that weighs heavily on me.
This trip ends with a celebratory homecoming for all the veterans from World War II through the Vietnam War. While many quietly went back to their life or work after serving, Honor Flight South Florida wants veterans to know they are not forgotten.
This is their welcome home, and I think they really appreciate how much Americans really, really do love them.
In Fort Lauderdale, I'm Jacqueline Quinn, CBS News, Miami.
Wonderful event. And thank you for joining us this half hour for Headliners. And as always, keep it right here, the CBS News Miami, for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. Make it a great day.